Yo, what is up? What is up? It's the Intentional Grounding Podcast, vidcast, right here on the Buffalo Rumblings feed. This is the Buffalo Rumblings post-game show, and I'm your host, Sterling. And we're coming off of Bills victory. How does that feel? How does it feel? This is the place to react, to get your feelings out, good, bad, or indifferent. I'm feeling pretty good. I got me some of that hen dog right here. I'll be sipping that to go into this victory. But also, I got my dog here too. I got my dog here. All bro Poe.
Let's go.
How you doing?
I'm doing
big
well.
Big
Absolutely.
dubs. It is. The Buffalo Bills defeat the Kansas City Chiefs by 3 points, 20-17. How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling great. I know that the end of it was a little sketchy, but I mean, we've been in those situations where calls haven't gone our way, and he was lined up in the neutral zone. So
he was.
It's a tough call, but it was the right call.
JB says, "Let's go." Dewan says, "I threw up at least 4 times in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter." Yeah, I think you're not the only one who threw up watching that part. JB also says, long as fourth quarter, at least it felt like it. Yeah, it was super long. John Robert, what's up? Glad you're here. I could put my pacemaker away for a week. Yes, John, it's the holiday season, and I'm sure we need you around here, and your family needs you too. So hang in there, buddy. And John says, "What's up, brother? We played the whole game. What's up, my guy?" Yes, we did. So let's, I'm excited. Because, going into this week, on the post-game show, I always talk about how I felt, maybe how Bills Mafia felt leading up into the game. I think that's always important, just for context purposes. But, coming into the game, I felt like the Bills were going to win this game. I felt like they were going to win this game, and they did. However, there was so much drama in the LBC this week, like so much drama at One Bills Drive. You got Tyler Dunn come out with his article, and, and we'll get your thoughts on the article because I really haven't talked to you about it, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But you had that article, and I always felt like, that could do one of two things. It could galvanize this football team for the better, or it could really kind of tear things apart. And I said that to say, seeing how they responded was going to tell me a lot about this game and a lot about the locker room. And they came through today. They really came through today. Your thoughts?
Well, I agree with you. I feel like the way that this game played out was how the defense specifically showed themselves today. It was going to tell me how they felt about McDermott, right? Like, regardless of everybody else, all that matters is who the players in there, how they feel about the character of McDermott. And so I thought they came out, they played extremely hard. They played well. They played, 2 turnovers, might have given up 10 points not turnovers, but a bad punt. But other than that, I feel like they came out and played inspired football. And I think that was for I don't want to say it was for McDermott because that shouldn't be the narrative, but like it showed that they care about him, and that's really what mattered. Like it showed that they weren't just going to give up because some article came out of people that were not happy with McDermott previously.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Like, was it for McDermott? Yeah, it's kind of for McDermott. I mean, when you have him coming out saying, he felt like he was attacked, and right, wrong, or different, whatever. Like, I didn't have a problem with Ty Dunn's article necessarily, because what happened, right? And we can't go back and change things and so forth. The timing of it, okay, it is what it is. Like, it happened.
What I have a problem with.
You're a reporter, you're a journalist. Like, if I'm him, I do the same thing. To be honest,
I don't
care about the team's feelings. If I'm a journalist, he's doing his job. You know what I'm saying? Like he's trying to. He's independent now, with Go Long, and so yeah, I do it too. But I don't care. But here's the thing, though, man. The resolve in that locker room, that's a big deal. It's a big deal, and it's a big deal on multiple accounts because, one, you've had an issue with tough one-score games. Now you got one going in your favor, right? not only that, but that tough win that you just got in Arrowhead was against the Kansas City Chiefs, right? And now you go back to Orchard Park and you play the Cowboys. That, man, if you're a Bills fan, if you are on the football team, you got to be feeling good right now.
It was interesting because down the stretch, like the way the offense played in that last drive is not indicative of how they usually play. Like they made a lot of mistakes as far as time management of the clock of what they could have had. They could have gave it back with like 45 seconds left. But I feel like that drop to Diggs, the missed touchdown they gave, that he threw a nice ball to Kincaid, and it was just hard to catch. Like it, and then the defense coming out and getting a stop, albeit they had a nice play with the guy offsides. Like I feel like it was just indicative. It was a weird ending, and it was finally nice to have one of these games go our way.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, down the stretch defensively, Sean McDermott and these zero blitzes got to stop.
I feel like
And I'm glad he pulled off on that on the last two plays. I'm thankful. But like, man, dude, it's like on that fake touchdown where Kadarius Toney lined up off sides, they sent the house on that. And you'd like to see more pressure from the front four so he doesn't have to do that. But you can play tight man coverage without playing giving guys cushion, because there's not a receiver on that team that you should respect in a sense. Like you respect them, but you're not like, it's not like it's Tyreek Hill or Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase. You're talking about Kadarius Toney, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and Rice. Like I'm not worried about those guys. So take your chances with the press man coverage in some of those situations instead of just resorting to a zero blitz.
Yeah, no, I see that, but I will say that he did run a press man, and Taryn he got Moss while he was pass interference, and like there are certain times, and I feel like one play will take McDermott out of calling something. If one play goes negative, it'll take him out of calling something, and like that's why, in my opinion, that's why he didn't run the cover zero on the last couple plays.
Yeah, he's a reactionary play caller for sure.
Right. And so like,
yep.
But like a lot of those cover zeros are because he's getting a lot of heat for not being aggressive in the first place. And so that's like, it's the in between of like, dude, like just F everybody else, F what the fans want you to do, F what anybody else wants you to do, the players, and F being reactionary. Just play chess and like be, you know what I mean? You don't have to,
right.
You know what I mean? You're outthinking yourself, and it's just like, but we came out with the win. It was big for him. You could see the emotions on his face afterwards. It was like, yeah, we got one of these, and like it was a long week, I'm sure, for him, and I'm happy that we could pull that one out.
Yeah, it's a big time win. So let's do what we always do on this show. We go through the box score. I think the box score sometimes tells a really good, compelling story here. On tonight's game, Patrick Mahomes, 25 of 43, 271. That's 6.3 yards per attempt, one touchdown, one pick, and one sack. So he had a passer rating of 74. Patrick Mahomes, he was Mahomes. He played a great game considering what he had at his disposal. I would have liked to see him maybe scramble a little more, catching the Bills and some of those zone coverages and stuff like that. But again, it worked out to the Bills' favor. But I think he played a great game. Rushing the ball, we saw Isaiah Pacheco not being available for this game. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 11 carries, 39 yards, 3.5 yards carry. They couldn't get it going on the ground. And, overall, they had 18 rushes for 82 yards, and most of that came in the first quarter. At least half of that came in the first quarter. The Bills did a really good job up front containing the run, which I was really impressed with.
I'll say that I do think that they ran the ball well early on in the game, but because we had those turnovers early in the game, because we were up by 14, it took away from their ability. We kind of made them a one-dimensional team based off the score. And so the run late in the game, like that's not going to work if we know you're going to come out and maybe run on first down, and then the rest of the time you're going to throw the ball. So I thought they did a good job of scoring early, making them one-dimensional, and that's how this Bills team is going to want to play moving forward.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Receiving, Travis Kelce, 6 receptions, 83 yards, no touchdowns, which I was happy to see that he did not touch the end zone. His long was a 23-yard reception on a bailout play. It was 3rd and 18. The Bills got to cover that a little bit better. Kelce is his guy. You got to make sure he's covered. He should not, Mahomes shouldn't be able to roll right and just chuck it up there to Kelce and he catches it. I think that's one that they want to have back. Rashee Rice had a good game, the rookie. 7 catches, 72 yards, 1 tutty.
One
You
big
know,
mistake.
yes.
Yeah.
He should have had another touchdown over the middle. But he kind of he didn't break that route in, and he kind of played it long. So Clyde Edwards-Helaire, again, 2 receptions, 29 yards. And then after that, they really didn't do anything. Marquez Valdes-Scantling had that one on the sideline late in the game. Justin Watson had another catch for 18 yards on a 3rd down completion. But outside of that, man, the Bills really buttoned that up. So, you're proud of the Bills in one regard. They did what they had to do defensively. Anytime you can come out of Arrowhead, of all places, the Bills always seem to play in Arrowhead, and you keep the Chiefs to 17 points. That's a win for McDermott. Whatever you feel out there about Sean McDermott, the fact that they held the Chiefs to 17 points, that's a big deal. That's a ginormous deal, regardless if the Chiefs are having a hard time offensively this year. But you got to tip your hat to the Buffalo Bills defense. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, as far as like the points that we did give up, one was on a punt return where they got the ball inside their own 50, and one was an interception where they got the ball at the 50, and that was 10 points, 10 of the 17 points that they scored. So the fact that we gave up 17 and we gave them 2 scoring opportunities inside their own 50, like that's what this defense can do when you're playing that, and people don't like it, that bend but don't break. We got turnovers, and that's what it was missing previously. When you play this defense, is we weren't getting turnovers, but we're getting those now. We're stripping the ball. We didn't get an interception, but we got 2 strips today. That was Rice, correct? That Benford stripped Rice on that, or was that more?
Yes. No,
So like,
Rashee Rice was stripped on that.
They're driving to score right there in a very crucial point where it's 17-17, and Christian Benford pulls out a nice little strip right there. So the defense buckled down when they needed to, and they're going to give up yards. It's Kansas City Chiefs. They're going to get their yards. Like that's.
Yes, they are. Can you do me a favor? Can someone out there go check on Nick Wright? If you're watching the show right now and you have a Twitter account, make sure you go on Twitter. You can at me, but make sure you at Nick Wright and just ask him how he's feeling. Okay, at me, because I just want to see somebody do it, because I'm gonna laugh. Because all he does is talk crap about the Bills, and they can't do this, they can't do that. Josh Allen is, blah blah blah. Well, you lost. What are you gonna have to say to that, right? What are you gonna have to say to that, huh?
Can I pull something up real quick before I miss
absolutely.
it?
Absolutely.
So they were setting up a pump and go to Gabe the entire game. So these screens that they were throwing to Diggs, and this is what I like about the way Joe Brady, he will call plays to set up things later in the game. They had Gabe wide open for a touchdown, and because the interior pressure that Chris Jones was causing, Josh missed him. And this was that last drive where we ended up kicking a field goal. But the reason that they're doing this, even though it wasn't working, is because they're gonna bite on that a lot. They did. They ended up biting on it. We had it. It worked, and we just missed it. But that's why we call those type of plays consistently.
Yeah, and to add to that, Ladarius Sneed has been locking up corners wide receivers all year long. The Chiefs are one of the best teams in the league in terms of taking away your first option. It's kind of reminiscent of what Bill Belichick does. Steve Spagnuolo does a great job. And let me say this about Steve Spagnuolo. His pressure packages are phenomenal. Like when McDermott sends pressure packages, it's like he's sending guys from the 3rd level all the way up, and there's holes. But the way that Spags gets guys going off the edges and it's very disguised, and it's a beautiful thing. That's how you pressure quarterbacks there. What Spags is doing.
Absolutely. And I wish they would use Oliver, or even if they put Oliver at the nose and put Groot at 3 more often, so that everybody's standing up. When everybody's standing up and moving around on the defensive line, and the linebackers that are coming and not coming are standing up, moving around, and just being fluid. Like that makes a big deal that to the quarterback not being able to read who
Right.
might be coming. And so like that's my problem with ours. Our 3D linemen are stuck. Like we have 3 down D linemen that are stuck in the ground, and so those 3 are coming regardless of whatever's going on. Those 3 are coming,
Right.
and so I would like them to. I would like them to be more fluid on passing downs for sure, like where we can get some things going. I'm not sure why we haven't looked into that, but McDermott could add some. Maybe he adds somebody to to start down up some rushes.
Yeah, I think McDermott is who he is, and he's one that I don't think he changes that much in season. I think he's one that goes back and reflects and to make his correct his adjustments later when the season's over. But you're right. Like I feel like in those moments, yeah, you like to see a little bit more nuance, a little bit more diversity in terms of exotic looks that way. And Spags does a really good job of that. Shout out to him because he really had Josh Allen second guessing. And then, if you're going to give Spags a shout out, Chris Jones absolutely wrecked the Bills offensively today. He was the catalyst that wrecked, and before we say, well, the offensive line's got to do a better job. Okay. Like yes and no. Chris Jones is one of the best defensive players in the league. And he really wore them boys out, not only from, 1 tech, 3 tech,
he's sliding,
he was,
so like, yeah,
all over the place.
Yeah.
Everybody caught an L from Chris Jones today.
And you can't prepare. You can prepare for that, but you can't like say like, oh, we're gonna slide to Chris Jones' side no matter what, because then they're just gonna move him around and dictate the way that we move. So like it's hard to prepare for a guy that's gonna move around and cause as much havoc as he does. So I get it, but like you would like the offensive line to maybe do a little bit better, maybe a little bit more help on him, but he's very good.
Yeah, he's extreme. He does a really, really good job of that. Let's go to the Bills offensively. Josh Allen, 23 of 42, 233, 5.3 yards per attempt, 1 tutty, 1 pick. That interception should not have happened. I just think that was Josh Allen. He's gonna throw a questionable one each game, and that one kind of bit him in the butt there. He was sacked 3 times for 24 yards. I'm not mad about the sacks. Again, Josh Allen sitting there trying to make a play.
There's a couple sacks that I'm mad about. There's a couple sacks. The 3rd and 27, like, brother, just throw it to the flats. We're not getting this first down, and just let him run up a little bit and let's punt it. But like, you don't need to take another sack for.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Like, at least you're not, for him, he's not pressing the ball down the field. Like, just take the sack and live to fight another day, really. But let me tell you offensively what I really had a problem with. One, you stop going from James Cook in the second half. James Cook, 10 carries, 58 yards, but it felt like his impact was felt much more in the game. Now, we're going to talk about what he did from on the receiving end, but man, like those carries that Latavius Murray was getting, it's got to stop. Like James Cook needs those. Put in Lenny, Ty Johnson. Like even though he only had 3 carries, but you saw Latavius Murray take a lot of snaps on 3rd downs. Listen, him being there on 3rd down really didn't help. It felt like it really didn't help that much today. So I would like to see Latavius Murray's snap count to go down. But the only criticism that I would say that I'd have of Joe Brady is like he should have used Cook more in the run game, and I felt like they should have went to more empty sets. Because listen, you got Stephon Diggs being taken out of the game. Like you have to, having Dawson Knox in the game should not say, well, we're not going to go to Shakir more. Shakir deserves more snaps. He deserves more opportunities and looks in this offense. So, it was good to see Dawson Knox back in the game. I'm glad he's healthy now. He had a few good catches, that resulted in first downs.
Some big ones.
Yeah, he has some big ones, and typically, we kind of go off on Dawson Knox because he's dropping those. But rushing the ball, James Cook, 10 carries, 58 yards, Josh Allen, 10 for 32. I liked how they, used Josh Allen to run the ball more. That was nice. He had a touchdown. Ty Johnson, 5 of 19. And then receiving, you had James Cook leading the charge again, 5 receptions, 83 yards, 16.6 yards, and a touchdown along with a 27 on a seam right up the middle. And he scored on that in the first quarter. Deontay Hardy had a big catch. Man, it's nice to see Deontay Hardy get a catch. I thought that was Diggs at first. I don't know if you did, but I was like, oh, that's Stephon Diggs. Like, oh, God, no, that's Deontay Hardy, bro.
I said, who is that? After he caught it, because I was like, man, and nothing against, I just don't think they really use him very much, but I didn't know who it was when he caught it, to be honest.
Yeah. Deontay Hardy on a deep over. I love to see that. Stephon Diggs, 4 catches, 24 yards. You know, hey, it was again, they took him out of the game. Latavius Murray, bruh, I understand the 21-yard catch, but man, can you hold on to the damn ball? Because you had some real estate, buddy, and you just fumbling, pissing down your leg. I mean, come on, dog. That was inexcusable to me. And luckily, it was a catch and fumble. But dude, you can't put your team in that kind of position. You got to be better on that. What are your thoughts on Latavius Murray?
I think Latavius is a good leader. So like I know that I get the reason he's there, and he's a good pass blocker, and they have to show that they can run with him on the field. So I understand the carries as well. I do think that they're using Ty in these last, I guess it was last game and this game, in his 3, and then Lenny is going to get the last 3. So I think that they're using the practice squad call-ups to use these 2, and they're going to get both carries. They trust Ty, they trust Lenny, I'm assuming. And when Lenny gets here, I would assume that he takes all of the plays because he can also block. So I would assume that he takes all the plays from but he'll be suited. Murray, he had a bad game. The one catch actually ended up helping us because we didn't fumble it away, which is nice, but at least he caught it.
Yeah, at least he caught it. It was a crucial down. Josh Allen on that, and it's one of those things. We'll probably when you look back on this game weeks from now, it's one of those plays that you probably won't remember. But it was such a critical down and play and effort by Josh Allen. He's sliding left, falling back, and he's inches from touching out of bounds, and he hits Latavius Murray, and Latavius Murray has a ton of space, and you fumble the ball, man. You got to be better. You got to be better than that.
I know you said something about Shakir, and I'll say this with Shakir and Gabe. They wanted to get their plays to cook early, their pass plays. Those were set pass plays that they wanted to get, that they knew they could score on to or get big yardage to cook early. So the usage of Cook was heavy early, and I wish they would have used him more running late in the game. But there's just, I mean, the rush was just getting there. They had Shakir and Gabe open a few times where Josh just can't look at him because he's getting rushed too fast. It's just like, I understand the anger towards Diggs, Shakir, and Gabe not having a great game, but sometimes it's just not your week. It's just not your week to get yards that week. Like, and Diggs has been through it. I mean, Diggs is one of the best receivers in the game. Diggs, Shakir going through it. Kincaid was low today. They had Knox probably had more usage, I want to say, than Kincaid. Maybe close. Maybe it was close, but it was Cook's day today, and I just wish they would have used him more later in the game rushing.
Yeah. I think he showed enough flashes all season long, but to give him the ball, I like when he got the ball rushing. I like the way they used him. It looked really good. You saw him with some halfback power out of shotgun a few times, and you saw him go back to that play. That was their bread and butter. I like that. Even him running the ball up the middle. It's looking good. You can see James Cook becoming a more nuanced back. He's being more patient. You don't want to see him back there dancing and stuff like that.
He hits it when he needs to.
He was more deliberate today. Yeah, I like that. I really do like that. And we haven't really had an opportunity to really say this much often, but he's a weapon, and they have to use him as such, right? So kudos.
So Ken wasn't doing.
Yeah.
Something Ken wasn't doing, and that's
right.
It's interesting. And there's something with our receivers I wish that I would see more. And Josh throws these line balls so that our receivers will come back into the DBs. But our receivers so fixated on trying to get the catch sometimes. Like there was 3 or 4 by Diggs, Gabe, and Shakir today where they can come back into the DB and get a penalty. And like those are things that other teams do against us. It's stuff Fugues underthrown, like where the receiver
Oh,
comes
with the
back into
Denver
the
Broncos, yeah.
yeah, exactly. And so like what I wish that our receivers would do that more. I know they're tough guys and they want to catch the ball, but like, sometimes we need some Fugues.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right there. But overall, in terms of Joe Brady's performance today, I give him a C. I give him a C plus. If you're gonna have a bad day, right, have it against the Chiefs, because that defense is really good, and we've been saying all year long that the Chiefs defense is really good, and it's one of those games where it was like, let me take you to school, kids. Spags took them to school a little bit because they weren't able to get, some of those easy access throws and making guys open, as much as we've seen in the past two games. So I think it's one of those where, you take your lumps kind of and you prepare for the Cowboys, because the Cowboys are going to present different challenges with Micah Parsons and two really good lockdown corners. So, I think it's time where, for next week, and we'll talk about this later, but where they get, Shakir and Kincaid and Knox more involved as ancillary passing targets, because they're going to need it going down the stretch these next two games. But moving forward here, right now, oh, you know what? Before we do that, let's talk about the Bills defensively in terms of just statistics. Taron Johnson is like, he's so underrated. He's in my opinion, he's one of the top 2-3 nickel cornerbacks in the league. He just played really well today. Tyrell Dotson looked good. Terrell Bernard played well. Benford, a lot has been talked about Benford. He did have one series where he didn't look as great, but he played a good game overall. Micah Hyde, man, I'm sorry, but it might be time where we say Micah's, he's just not the same player anymore. The nagging injuries, and you want to see more plays from him. I think it is what it is. I don't like seeing Taylor Rapp out there. I don't like seeing Cam Lewis playing safety, and it is what it is. I mean, when you're banged up, it just happens. Rasul Douglas, go ahead.
He has his neck thing that he had surgery on. He ended up getting a stinger on it like the fourth game, and it was a pretty bad one. And so like he's trying to play through it, because him out there, see what like him being out there, just being out there is uplifting, I want to say, to the other
Sure.
DBs. And so what you gain in athleticism by bringing Rap out there and aggressiveness and hitting, you lose in confidence because it's Taylor Rapp and not Micah Hyde out there. So and so I understand Micah being out there, and I just I want him to take care of his body first before playing.
Yeah, you want to see him healthy. But the Bills will the Bills will have some decisions to make this offseason. But tonight is not the night. Tonight is the night we celebrate this victory. Right now, the Buffalo Bills right now have a 38% chance to make the playoffs, according to the New York Times playoff machine. Okay, that's phenomenal. I thought
100%.
yeah. I mean, it was
100%.
15% going into this week, and you saw some things go the Bills' way. So you more than doubled your playoff percentages. With a win next week, you bring that up to 55%, 58%. If the Bills could beat the Cowboys at home, they can make that to 58%. So we'll
It'll
see.
probably be higher with some losses, right? I would assume, like with some other teams losing.
With some other teams losing, it could be even higher. Now, I don't want to say good news, but Justin Herbert has a broken finger, so there's a good chance you might see Easton Stick after the Cowboys game. So keep in mind. So the Bills have the Cowboys, Chargers, Patriots, and Dolphins, and the idea is that the Bills can go 4-1 through this stretch. But if you run the table, that's even better. But you're gonna need some help from some other teams, but the Bills definitely control their own destiny. So, this, again, just like the Chiefs game, the Cowboys coming up this week is a big game. So if the Bills were to lose to the Cowboys, that goes down to 18%. So, you gotta beat the Cowboys. So we'll see. I think
I'm still on the train that the Dolphins are going to lose 3 of their last 4 games, and I don't know about this week. I could see them losing this week with Derrick Henry coming back, but they played the Ravens, Cowboys, and us. So I could see them losing 3 of their last 4 and then us winning out and us taking the East. I still see that happening.
Yeah, even if the Dolphins kind of win most of their games or all their games until they play the Bills, that's a scenario that you should be happy with because that means that the Dolphins really aren't going to put anybody out there. Week 18, right? So the Bills can go out there and mop those boys up, and then you'll probably play the Dolphins that again in Miami, which I'm totally cool with that. If they, if they play in the wild card round, you play the Dolphins. I'm good with that. I'm like,
Well, if the
because I
Dolphins
like
win
the Bills'
out,
chances.
they get the 1 seed, right? Even before
If
us,
they win out, they get the 1 seed. But the Baltimore Ravens will have something to say to that. The Baltimore Ravens have a brutal schedule moving forward. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But the only thing we can count on is this week. So I want to talk about. A lot needs to be said about, Josh Allen and how he leads this team moving forward. In light of what happened this week, with the article and so forth, it just raised my appreciation for Josh Allen just a little bit more than it already was. Just having to be in that locker room and seeing McDermott and how some things have gone down. I don't want to say McDermott has to be perfect by any means, but just like getting fourth quarter leads and the defense blows it, or Sean, and I mean the defense blows it. Sean McDermott just not necessarily putting the team in the best position to win football games late. Just his attitude and how he's the Ken Dorsey thing. All that stuff, man, it really does play a big factor in why 17 is so special. What are your thoughts on Josh Allen moving forward? Now, this wasn't his best game. I mean, he had to fight through some adversity here. The offensive line didn't help him much, and they had stupid penalties and just getting worked by Charles Omenihu and Chris Jones. Like, what are some things that we should expect for Josh Allen moving forward? Let's start with the Cowboys game. How can Josh Allen, regardless if you've seen the film or not, but internally, what can Josh Allen do to put this team in a position next Sunday?
Well, I'll say this as far as Josh being, and my appreciation for Josh was always there regardless. But the way that they've built this team is everybody on this team looks in first. But that's the reason that they don't, oh, what is he doing? What is he doing? They don't look at McDermott and say, oh, McDermott is costing us whatever, because everybody knows that they got a piece of that pie every time they lose the game. Everybody got a piece of the pie. So that's the most I respect about Josh. Josh hasn't played perfect this year, and he has great games. He's Josh Allen. Like, he just has to be Josh Allen every week. Whatever that means that week. This week it was, we need you to get a couple third downs on running. We need you to make a couple crazy throws. And I don't think he has to do anything more than who he is as a person. And he always has a good game against the Cowboys.
Yeah. I hope that trend continues. Because next week is a big time game. I think that's another game the Bills should and can win. You could beat the Cowboys. Now, Dak Prescott's going to have something to say about that. And make sure you guys tune in this week on Chop Up on Tuesday night. Where we're going to kind of, dive deep into the Cowboys matchup because, and I'll have a guest on, one of my buddies who's a Cowboys fan, is going to come on and join us. And we're going to talk shit to him. So yeah, I think, Josh Allen and not Ken Dorsey, but Joe Brady need to get together and really kind of figure out, okay, now, you got Stephon Gilmore, Deron Bland, right? Gabe Davis was held to another 0 catch, 0 receptions, 0 yards. He wasn't targeted much. But they got to figure out a way to get him more involved in the offense or get somebody outside of Stephon Diggs. And, it's nice to see James Cook involved in the passing game, but you can't rely on that every single week.
I don't think they are. I think they're relying on somebody to step up. And to this week, it was Cook. Last week, it was Game. And even though we lost that game, but they scored and they played well last week. And so I do think that this offense kind of just relies on somebody new every week, whoever has the hot hand. And the majority of the time, Diggs is going to give you what Diggs is going to give you. So I know Diggs had a rough day today. He's not going to have one tomorrow or next week against his brother's team.
Yeah, I mean, you that's your guy. So we'll see. They definitely need him, regardless if you like Gabe Davis or not. The Bills need him moving forward next week. It's come out now that Patrick Mahomes was not happy with Kadarius Toney offsides penalty.
Of course, I wouldn't have been either if I was on their team.
Oh yeah, it's nice to see. I ain't gonna cap. It's nice to see Mahomes pissed off. Because a lot of times I feel like things kind of it goes his way, right?
And not
And
ours. The
right,
majority of the
right.
time. So it's
You
split
know,
now and it feels good.
you get to sit there and you look at Taylor Swift in the press box, and she's
Hugging
hugging
on some random
everybody.
dude up there. Travis better watch out. I don't know who that was up there.
Hey, that brother wasn't interested in Taylor Swift, bruh.
I don't know.
He she a twig.
Why you on my
She
shoulder, bro? Get
that brother ain't trying to mess with. He ain't a milkman. He ain't a milkman. So hey, it's just nice. It's just nice to see the Chiefs lose, man. 2 in a row. 2 in a row.
I actually don't. I don't like hate the Chiefs as much as everybody else does. I'm
Because
just
you're not a
glad we
real
won this
fan.
game.
You're not a real
No,
fan of the Bills.
I'm
Stop
not
it.
a hater. I'm not a hater. I don't like the Dolphins fans at all. But like I'm not really a hater of other teams all that much.
I know, because you whatever, dude. But I am. I hate other teams. I am. And I hate the Chiefs. I respect Mahomes. I respect Reed. Travis
Respect Kelce?
Kelce. Yeah, Kelsey's the best tight end to ever play the game. I ain't
I
gonna
like that.
cap on that.
I like
But I don't like him. I don't
that.
like him. So anytime the Bills play the Chiefs at Arrowhead, because that's the only place we play them, F the Chiefs, man. Like, and the Bills got a dub today. Now, again, all that being said, the Bills got to make the postseason. I still feel like if the Bills make the postseason, they're going to be a dangerous out. Like, it's not going to be easy for these other teams, because once the Bills figure it out and they start playing like the team, which we're every week we see shades of this, where they start to look like the team that we expected them to be at the beginning of the season, you got to be excited, man. You got to be excited about this Buffalo Bills team.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
I think that will be the I think that not one person, I think we'll be the team that not one team wants to play against if we make it. It doesn't matter where we make it.
right.
I think that every team in the postseason will not want to play against us.
I agree. Shout out to AJ Epinesa with the tip and the interception. He had a rib thing going on, so he didn't make his way. I don't think he didn't make his way back into the game. Ed Oliver continues to play well. Had a sack today. Had a pass tip at the line in the fourth quarter, and then Leonard Floyd. Leonard Floyd made the play that Von Miller's supposed to make, or that we expect Von Miller to make at the end of the game. He got pressure, kind of on a delayed blitz. You kind of saw him like take a hezzy step, and then he kind of got around the edge to disrupt Patrick Mahomes. But again, Patrick Mahomes looking at Travis Kelce. The pressure was there. He overthrew it, and I don't know about you, but when that happened, I was looking around like, where's the flag?
I was too.
Right?
I'm like trying not to let my internal biases. So like I was on this fresh new turn the page thing today, and like I was trying not to, but like sometimes it's like, dude, I'm just waiting on the penalty. It's not there, and I'm like, all right, cool. I will say this about Vaughn, like just taking out everything else outside. This was probably his best game.
It was.
He had two really important pressures, one on third down and 3 to make them kick the field goal. We thought it was a fumble, but it wasn't. And then one later in the game, he had a nice little pressure that Mahomes like kind of threw. I don't understand how that's not intentional grounding, but he kind of threw out of the sack. So it was probably his best game, which is nice to see some type of work from him. We haven't seen that at all this year. So
yeah. I don't know about you, but I kind of want to hear what the team has to say post game. What the interviews are like and what they're saying. Because I don't know, man. I think this year, regardless of play on the field, it just feels like it's one of those seasons where, I think their morale is tested more than anything this year. If I outside perspective looking in, I just feel like their morale is being tested. They're battling different kinds of adversity than last year. Last year was a lot of just unfortunate, crazy one-off events, right? This year it's kind of a leadership is being tested and so forth. And again, like we talked about earlier in the show, it could do one of two things. It can galvanize you, or it can kind of destroy the ship that already has a couple cracks in it. But today they prevailed, and you got to be excited about that.
I do look, last year they went through a lot of just BS that none of them could have any control over whatsoever. And so I will say the mindset sticks. So they've been through adversity is adversity, regardless of if you inflict it on yourself or if it's inflicted upon you. Adversity is there, and to learn how to get through it, we went through that last year, and so they've been here before. That's what they were saying all week. We've been in this position before where the chips are down against us, and they kind of thrive. This group of guys thrive in that situation. I'd rather not be in that situation at all. It'd be nice to not be, but the best part is this team's never out. They're never going to be out of it. They're going to fight until the last dog is down. And so that's going through what we went through last year is probably helping tremendously with this year.
Mm-hmm. AJ Sobolski just tweeted out, because he's watching the post-game interview, says Josh Allen says you can question a lot about this team, coaching style, my decision-making, but the one thing you should never question is Sean McDermott's character. Allen adds that he's one of the best people on this planet, and the focus is to go 1-0 each week. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Sean McDermott is an upstanding guy, character-wise. I mean, we all know that. There ain't nobody worried about. I mean, I think there's some things that I think there's a couple things. I think there's a couple things that we could be like, okay, dude, you got to be better. How you handle Josh Allen, how you handle some of your coaches, you could be better there. Coaching, okay, no one's perfect, but again, there's some things that he can do. But when you talk about Sean McDermott, the man, I mean, he's a good dude. He's a good dude through and through, and he made a mistake.
He has some weird one-off situations where he says so. He's tone deaf to some things, and he says some weird, dumb things. And that's what I said. That was 4 years ago, and I guarantee he's never said anything like that since. He apologized, and I guarantee he's never said anything like that since. So he's a weird guy.
He shouldn't have said it in the first place. I mean, there's no cause for that.
I mean, what he said, the way he meant it was not he's just tone deaf to the situation.
No, for sure.
Which we've all. I don't know anybody in my life.
I don't give him a pass on that. I'm not giving him a pass on that. I don't care. There's thousands of lessons in leadership that he could have gleaned from and pulled from. 9/11. I understand the message he was trying to convey, but buddy, you got to pick something different.
Okay, but the harp that he got on it is not because everybody has said some outlandish shit. Everybody that I know in the world has said something that's been poor.
Sure.
Everybody that I know in
every week for me.
And I don't even hear an apology from those people. But now we want to be up here on our high pedestal.
It's different. It's different.
It's not, he's in
the light. He's in the light. He's in a high profile position.
But he apologized about it, and now we can't sit up here. And I'm not saying you. I'm talking about what I.
Oh yeah.
We can't sit up here and just absolutely harpoon on the guy that made one verbal mistake back at that point that wasn't even meant to be a negative thing at the time. He's just a little tone deaf to certain languages. So I understand the coaching. If you want to get a guy fired, or if you don't like the way a person his coaching, if you have something to say about his coaching, I have stuff to say about his coaching. But to sit up here and say his character is this and that because of something he said 4 years ago that he already apologized for, that really was it was poor taste, and it really wasn't that crazy. Where he could have said some other stuff. Where I mean, Josh has had some situations in the past that we have forgiven Josh about, that he apologized about. It's crazy to me how much we want to cancel this guy, and I want to assume it's because we want to fire.
Yeah, cancel culture's trash. But look, again, no one's excusing McDermott. He shouldn't have said it in the first place. Ed Oliver just said, Matt Perino just tweeted, whatever leak or whatever, I think you're a coward. Ed Oliver defending Sean McDermott after the Bills defense came up with a stop in the final drive versus the Chiefs. I got his back on everything. Oliver closes. So, you see, it'd be one thing where, like, if the players were like, yeah, bro, I ain't feeling this dude. You know what I'm saying? I think it's something that
you would have
Terry
seen it the way
Pagula,
they played today, too.
Right.
Yeah,
But the fact that they came through and and it's not like they came out and they just blew the Chiefs out of the water. They had to battle adversity and they had to look their coach in the eye, coming on and off the sideline, whether it's Josh Allen, Ed Oliver, and find that resolve. I think that's one of the things that doesn't get talked about enough, that, like, these guys are they're battling the Warriors. They're fighting through nagging injuries, family, home stuff, who name it. And the fact that they got to win tonight should not be an understatement. It should not be one of those things you go to bed and go, okay, well, we take it for granted and the Bills got to win. No. That was a monumental big time win for this club, and it should be respected as such. So whatever you guys do tonight, put all the negative stuff aside. We can look at the news and we can look at all the things that maybe we might be, not happy about with our life. But when you look at the Buffalo Bills tonight, you should go to bed and feel good about this football team moving forward, because they played their asses off, and I tip my hats to them.
And this hump, this, like, I don't even know what to call it, this negative stone that everybody chip on their shoulder that everybody has about these late games, like, this is one where, even though it wasn't the way you wanted to win it in the end, you got it, and it can push you over that hump of these close games. So we would like to see some blowouts for our team going, like,
right.
Something, but the fact that you have that, and, like, it's no longer that, oh, here we go again, because you could say, oh, here we go again with the Chiefs game, we're going to win this shit when it comes down to it. So,
yeah. All right. So, closing remarks on this game. I think we've pretty much exhausted everything we could. And for those of you who have been hanging out with us, me and Albro Poe, whether it's here on Intentional Grounding or the Chop Up, man, we just want to say thank you to you all. This is the Buffalo Rumblings post-game show right here on Intentional Groundings. We do this every single week. Bills win, lose, or draw. We in this thing hard. So next week, the Buffalo Bills will take on the Dallas Cowboys, and folks, the Bills they're knocking on heaven's door for a playoff berth. They're 1-0, as Joe Brady would tweet out. They are 1-0. And before we get up out of here, Christmas is around the corner. If you guys out there find a PlayStation Portal, let your boy know, because I got to get one for my kid. Hey, every time I go look for that thing, it's sold out, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. But, we're going to get up out of here. Alpopo and Sterls, we up in this thing. We up out of here. You guys have a freaking fanatical week. Go Bills.
Go
and
Bills.
We're going to beat the Cowboys' ass next week. Deuces.